Hey everybody, hi and welcome to the video. In this video, I'll essentially show and talk about how to generate templates or how to generate code dynamically. In this video, I'll essentially take a concept for data quality and we're gonna see how we can store the metadata or the reports for the data quality in DynamoDB. And then at the end, we can generate beautiful reports about the data. So let me show you just the idea. Hopefully this should make sense. Now, ideally, I have taken a very simple PySpark data frame over here. Again, you have a column A, B, and C. Now, ideally, if you think about it, somebody will go and write code to essentially validate the data or basically write some code, right? So now in this case, again, Pydequ is a library that allows you to, do data quality checks. So here I'm just showing you a very simple use case. Add analyzer, completeness. So I'm saying I want to check for the column B, do I have any null values or not, right? I basically want to see. So basically, if you think about it, I'm writing this information again and again. So what I want to do is I want to generate this code dynamically, right? If you have 100 columns, are you going to write 100 lines of code? 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So how can we automate this process? So how do I generate the code dynamically? And the second part is how do I execute that code? And the third part is now how you can store the information in DynamoDB to generate beautiful insights. So allow me to show you a demo. Again, so what I did is here, I made a template here. So if you observe, I have a class called generate data quality code, right? And basically I defined everything as a JSON. So here I can say the table name, right? And I can pass in all the columns and rules. Rules is basically an enum. So now what you're doing is you're trying to control the code through your JSON payload. So now look at this one. I just want to show you a demo first. So hopefully this will make sense. Oh, sorry about that. Let me collapse this. Look what happened. So basically I was able to generate the code, right? So you got the idea, right? So now let's say I want to add the uniqueness. Okay. There you go. Bang. Look at that. You see? Okay, I might want to apply on other columns A, B, and C, right? So I can simply copy this JSON here, right? I can say I want to apply this rule on column B. I want to remove this. If I run this, there you go. You got the idea, right? So it's generating the code dynamically, which means it's now generating the code, right? So now we can execute this code. So let me show you just that idea again. So now, again, that's there, right? So now basically the idea here is, the user will store this metadata information in some sort of a database, right? So you'll have a table name and essentially the corresponding JSON, right? Which will basically tell the code what to generate and what rules to apply, right? Hopefully that made sense. Now, again, I'm showing you a demo here. So here you can see it did generate like a string Python code. Now what I can do is I can use the word exec in Python and I can basically execute the code at runtime. So basically, just to show you, I have that string Python code generated. If I use the exec and if I then run this one, hopefully this should make sense now. So what we are doing is we are trying to automate certain tedious, boring tasks, right? That's basically what we're trying to do, right? So after this execution is complete, hopefully you will see, the report, right? The uniqueness and the completeness, etc., etc. So what you can do is you can store this metadata about some basic validation that you want to perform in the database. And then basically this particular template will generate that code. You can execute that code at runtime dynamically, right? And then when you get the output, now you can store the metadata in DynamoDB. And then you can evaluate your quality over a period of time. So hopefully this should take about a second or two, hopefully. Okay, here you can see, right? So 66%, right? Column C has null values, so the percentage is 66%, right? So the DynamoDB design, right? So here you can see I have done that in a pretty simple Excel way. So I have a PK, I have an SK. So here my primary key would be a date, right? And then my sort key would be a table name. So I can say for a given day, show me the data quality for the table A, for the table B, for the table C. That's one of the access pattern, right? My second access pattern could be for the given month, show me the data quality for this table over all the days, right? So now I can essentially build something like this, right? So basically, I have the data quality for each day, right? And now I can essentially see the trend, right? And I can basically generate a beautiful report like this, right? So hopefully this did make sense, right? So what we are trying to do here is, as much as possible, automation is the key, right? So if you have a lot of tables, right, one way is, instead of writing code, try to develop a template that generates code dynamically based on your certain parameters. Now store those parameters on as a metadata in some database. Doesn't matter, SQL Server, Postgres, Dynamo, doesn't matter. Now what you can do is, when the job runs, it would take the parameter, generate the code dynamically, and essentially then you can store that output on Dynamo or some table, and then evaluate the data quality over a period of a month, a year, or a week, and basically you can develop this report. So hopefully the concept made sense, right? So again, to generate certain reports like this, you need to automate as much as possible. You need to eliminate manual work, right? So I would say, now think about it, right? I could essentially develop this into a JSON, right? So an API, right? So whenever I want to add a new rules, whenever I want to remove a rule, right, I can simply make a API call, and I can update the metadata, and the code will dynamically change, right? I don't need to tell the developer, hey, add the validation for this column, hey, go and do this, hey, go and do that. It adapts basically, right? So that's what I wanted to show you. Again, this is just a video which shows you the power of templates and other stuff. I will put the code in the GitHub section. I am still working on the DynamoDB part, where I will store the metadata, and then maybe I can generate a PDF report using Python, right? So a nice PDF report I can generate, and then basically I can also send an email. So every day a cron, maybe running on a month or a week, can take the metadata, aggregate, and then essentially generate the PDF, and then send the PDF over an email. Isn't that amazing? Well, that's all I wanted to say. So thank you so much for watching the video. Hope you have enjoyed. I'll leave the code soon. I'm still working on it, so I'll leave the code soon in the description.